So, look at these. It's impressive. The problem is that they stink. When they are closed, they smell good, and when they are open, more they open and more they stink. But they are really amazing, like surreal, like fake, you know. Yeah, so these are peonies, a variety of peonies. I don't know which one, but this is what they are. I just came back from the beach, and it was a lot of people on the beach. And it was like a surreal thing, because with what is going on and the riot and all, and even in LA, and we are close by LA, everybody was on the beach, all colors, together, having good time, and it's like totally surreal. Because here we are used to be, you know, mixed together, and I don't see why there is this problem. No, I see. It's everywhere. The thing is that even in the same country, sometimes you have in the same race of skin, race color, skin color, you have fight, conflict. And I wonder if it comes from the first two brothers, Abel and Cain, who fight and to kill each of them. But I don't know why the human race is like that. Racism is not only in between different colors. I'm white, and when I was little girl, I suffer a lot about racism. Not because of my color. I was in France, east of France. I born east of France, and after I've been in Corsica, so I was in France, where you have white people, especially at that time. It was not a lot of people of colors. But my name. So my name is Arabic, Yasmina. I changed my name some years ago. It's another story. I explain about that. I changed my name legally for Yadzimina. That was the way my grandmother from Corsica was calling me. But this name, Yasmina, with a last name Rossi, Italian name, from Corsica, but Italian name. When I was east of France, it was quite a problem, because for them, the fact I have an Arabic name and last name from Italy, Italian, Corsican last name Rossi, I was treated like if I was a sale gypsy, a bad gypsy, dirty Arab. Kids were really mean with me. They were spitting on me. They were, if they could pinch me, and I was alone. And I was alone in the court, because all the cruelty of the children. So where is this coming from? And I'm white, you know? So this was really hurting. But the thing that this developed in me is that as I was isolated and alone, nobody was playing with me. I play with myself, I play alone. And I developed maybe some skills by that, because I had to find a way to be okay with myself. But this doesn't mean that as little girl I was not hurt. I suffered about that. I was not understanding, and I could not speak about that at home, because the adult would not understand that, or I felt they would not understand. At that time, you were bullied. You know, it was not really something that was like now. If you bully one children at school, the teacher is seen and the director, and it's a big thing. At that time, it was different 60 years ago. And I was a little girl, you know, at the primary school, when you are just after kindergarten. And I had also another issue, is that when I was even younger, I was with these grandparents in Corsica who were speaking Corsican. And in fact, when I arrived at school, not in Corsica, but on the mainland, east of France, and also in Marseille, south of France, I was not understanding very well, because between 2 and 4 I learned to speak Corsican, and I hear speaking Corsican my grandparents and my aunt, and it was very confusing. So I was making a lot of mistakes at school because I was not understanding very well, and also when kids were speaking to me, I was not really understanding, or I was answering with a different language that they were not understanding. So all this created a lot of trouble. I suffered a lot about that discrimination. Every year, for example, when it was the beginning of the year and we were all in the court to have our class designed, we were called by alphabetic order about our names. So me, I was always the last one, because I had another thing even more confusing. My first name in the civical record was not Yasmina, like my parents called me, but was Marie. So every time it was called Marie Rossi, I was never answering, because I never knew even that my first name was Marie. I never been called like that. So it has been very difficult. So the amazing thing is that me, as I was like discriminated, I wanted to be like, to have low profile, to don't be noticed. But in fact, with that thing, with the name, and being the only one without class, when everybody was called, everybody could see that, I was not passing, like not seen. I was in evidence. So I had to deal with that. And often, it was even hard, because all this confusion and all this thing about in between kids, sometimes I was fighting. Sometimes, when someone is aggressive to you, when you are a child, you can also beat someone. So when this happened, they put me in the corner at the end of the class. So it was very hard. And I remember when it was this call at the beginning of the year, when I was older, it was like kids speaking slowly. There is an Arab in the class, there is an Arab. And me, I was like, oh my goodness, again. So all my childhood, it has been that. And it was really interesting, because when I went back to my parents at 11 years old, in fact, because I never really lived with them before, I was nomad in between my grandparents one side, my grandmother on another side. So when I went back to my parents at 11, and it has been the disillusion, and even more disillusion, because I had to fight racism when my father was racist. And this was one thing that was not able for us to go well together, because I could not stand that. And it has been quite hard, because when I was between 10 and 13, 14, my best friend was Asian. He was Vietnamese, Auguste Livansu. And it was difficult, because he was criticized because he was different. But the thing is that a lot of Corsican people, even were racist, in fact, they went in Indochina at the war in Vietnam, and they came back with women from there, and they had, kids that are Eurasian, and there are a lot of Eurasian people in Corsica. So I think all this mix helps slowly to make changes in mentality, but it's very, very hard. Because even in an island like Corsica, you have the one from the north, the one from the south, the one from that village, the one from that, it's better, we are better there than there. It's everywhere the same. So racism is not a question only of color. I think it's more the question of differences, of things that we don't know about others, about the unknown. It's like being afraid about the unknown. And this is because it can be disorienting, because you don't understand the language, you don't understand. So sure, even the fact to have a different color, it's increased that problem. But even in between people of same color, there is a problem. It's not something that is only because it's black and white. It's not only that. You know, it is something, I want to see this like something positive, even unfortunately if one man again had to die for that. But I have the feeling that this, I want to see this really positive. I have the feeling that this gonna really, now at the era we are, with all the ways, the media that we have to exchange together, to that things can be known very fast around the world and we can see what is going on. I think we are really on an era of big changes about these things, because we cannot be without others. It's impossible. And our differences make the world as it is, and it can make something really nice. So it's something that is beyond my mind, because like my dream last day, I don't know if you heard that, it was really moving to me, but this dream was so clear. Just after the event of Minneapolis, I had this dream with taking off my skin, my face very well cut, here around my eyes, and I could take off this like a mask and show that under it was the same thing. It's the same flesh, it's the same blood. It was not scary. It was just to show to these two young boys, white, that in the dream were like my children. And it was just to show them, like to say, look, if I take off this mask, and we are in a mask trendy time now, if I take off this one of my skin, and I just see the eyes, the eyeball, who knows the color that it is? You know, it was like, and it was like, look, this is what is important, is what is back of that, is what is back of this eyeball that is looking, that is seeing the world. And this thing is absolutely, first, no weight, no physical thing, it's invisible, it's immaterial. And this thing is the same for everybody. So, sure, the frequency can be different because we are all different. But this thing that see through the eyeball is absolutely, it's immaterial. There is no thing that you put the mask after. If I had my white mask of my skin and I take another one of black, my eyeball gonna stay the same, and the one inside gonna see the same. So I think the era we are now, it's really to go at a spiritual level. I don't know who said something like the 21st century will be spiritual or will not be. I forgot the person who mentioned that, but it's really that. Everything pushes us to go, to connect, to think differently, to use our mind to connect to spirit. And this is the thing, because we are all spiritual beings. We are all with this ability, with our mind, to connect to spirit, to evolve, to open our consciousness. And I think what is going on right now with all these things in few months, it's to make this change, this big change, structural change, a structure. And 2020, it's 4, and 4 is the number of the square, and what is really the base, something really solid base. So we are now, I want to see this like we are changing the base, we are changing structure for better. I cannot go on things negative because I don't want to aliment with negative thoughts. I am someone positive, and I see beauty everywhere, even when it's not. I have this thing to see the small details that are like magical, and I want to see this. And you know, it's in a way very sad that this man lost his life like that, but for all the one who lost their lives like that, of any color, we can be grateful to him to make this thing going forward and changing, and really, really pray. So this is what I wanted to say about that, because I don't have solution. Um, and I think the solution gonna come by what is going on. Um, I want to see, I'm maybe, delusional or like too in utopia, but I believe in good. So I want to see this like really, really something that's gonna make a big, big difference in the world. Voila, so I wanted to share this with you because this thing about racism hurt me since I'm a child, and it moved me actually, and it's something that I fight for, I can say, all my life around me with people before social media era, because you don't need to be activist. It's also in your way to be every day first with yourself and your political engagement in your daily life, in the tiny thing of your daily life. It's not because you're gonna go and bring boards and put black thing. It's also something, it's in you, how you are, how you behave, and this is something that really I fight. When I was young, I was very violent against this, really violent. And I think there is an age for everything. Now I'm much older, and I'll also I'm also more taking distance with things and analyzing differently than when I was young. I was much more impulsive, but I fought for that. I was very very, very mean. I remember with my father, we had such big fight against regarding racism, because here it's black, but there are people of all colors. But in Corsica, it's about Arabs. They didn't like Arab people, because people evolved. And but I was saying, why do you bring them to work to do the job that you don't want to do, and after be like that with them? You should be thankful, because these people do the job you don't want to do. So it's that it's terrible, because it's good when you need things, you take what you need, and after it's like garbage. I cannot stand that, and but there's the irony, because I became US citizen in 2007, and so I'm 20 years I'm in this country. And when I was in Paris, I was married at that time. My ex-husband is born in Paris, but he's from Algeria, so he's like North African, dark skin, and he has like Arabic feature, very handsome actually. And when we were in Paris, I can tell you, it was a nightmare. He was arrested all the time by the police, all the time. It was not 1 week he was not arrested. Asking him his permit to stay, his visa, and he was French, he was born in Paris. So you see, this is not only here, it's everywhere. So the irony is, when we arrived here in New York in 1999, it has been such a relief for him. He never been arrested by the police to ask him his paper. Never, no one single time. So you see, and he has this skin color, and we see that he's not from this country. And he was a little bit scared after 11 September with this Arabic thing that happened. And in fact, it never been bothered. He never had trouble. So we cannot also blame totally the country. It's up also, the circumstances, and maybe what also you have to face. And I think here in this country, everything is amplified because it's the energy of this country. Everything, everywhere you go, it's huge, it's big, it's totally démesuré. It's like, it's blow your mind when you go in this landscape in this country. And I have the feeling that it's the same energy that people are, you know, going, crossing by, and everything is expanding, everything take a big dimension. The riots, everything is big here. So I hope that the big energy, the big thing, gonna be big in the other direction now. And I'm sure people are more, especially young people, they are together. I saw on the beach, they play together. And it was beautiful to see, especially right now with what is going on. So I am really happy that to have seen that today, and it made my heart, you know, like lighter about after all that is going on these days. Voila, I wanted to share this with you about my own experience because it's the thing I know the best. I'm not really knowing very well all the detail of all the movement here, especially the political one. I don't know anything about that, not really. But I wanted really to share this thing because it's moved me a lot. Voila.